Hey, Judy.
Hi, Kim. So yeah, I see some people have already joined early, but I wasn't sure besides who is
No.
I didn't want to admit them yet.
No, I won't. I will just admit, because some of the translators haven't used their translation email, so they'll come through sort of the main way. But yeah, I'll just admit Sangeeta. Let me just take a deep breath. Right. It's funny, I'll add this to the events protocol as well, like the multiple translations, because it's an interesting thing to have come up. So
yeah.
Yeah, but it should be fine. So we have 68 people registered, which is great. Right, let me let Sangeeta in.
Okay, I'll grab some water and just blue.
Hi, Sangeeta.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, good. And you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Great.
So Gaia is just joining us as well. There we go. Hi, Gaia. No, not yet, too early.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Gaia.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Anna.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly, thank you.
That's good.
Okay, so we're waiting for Alex from Canada to join. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
I see 2 people in the waiting room, but I
No,
don't.
we'll leave them until 12 o'clock. I will admit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we will wait for our colleague and then you will assign us as interpreters. Is that
Well,
correct?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Kim, Pawan is here as well. He'll join me in the Hindi.
Okay, I will
Section, yeah.
add him. Just give me a second. As Pavan.
And are we also waiting for the speakers to join a bit earlier, right?
Yes.
Great.
Hindi.
Okay, you can see, yeah, there's a chat box, but there isn't a separate Q&A, which is good because it makes it easier. So I'll just keep my eye on the chat.
I don't see interpretation button here.
Oh,
No,
I haven't added
because-
everyone yet. Thanks, Anna. I haven't added them yet. I'm just waiting for Alex to join. And when she's joined, I will then start it. And then it'll show up at the bottom bar. So Pavan, it doesn't want to pick you up. Not. Oh, I think is that our Sergey?
That's a good question, yeah.
What? Hi, what do you want me to do?
Sorry, Pavan. It's not picking you up on. Are you sort of on as a different name? I know that it says Pavan Kumar like on the front here, but it doesn't seem to want to pick your name up. Are you on as another name? Or is it?
No, it's only one.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not picking you up. Let me try.
Pawan, can you check your connection because you are getting cut off? We can hear breakups.
Right, let's
Actually, I will do that.
start this anyway.
Oh, yeah, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see our legs.
Mhm.
I see that we have received our invites. Yes, so we are accepting and we will be at our channels, right?
Let me just have a look here. Do you want to just Gaia ping Alex? Just send her a quick email. Make sure that she's okay.
Yep. The translators link, right?
Yeah, I can assign it to her once she joins, so it might just be easier if she just joins.
And here, Anna. Okay, perfect. So Sangeeta, you hear only me right now.
Mm.
Great. That's what we're. Yeah, so I will make an announcement that due to some certain limitations with COVID, we would kindly ask everyone to prioritize English. And in case that's not possible, put their questions in the chat box, and then anyone can use Google Translate and translate it. But I think we should be fine.
Can I ask Pavan to sort of log off and log back in, because it doesn't want to pick him up. It doesn't want to pick up his details, so I can't add him as an interpreter if that's possible, please.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yes, Anna, I'm not sure if I have mentioned, but we have managed to secure a backup person in the main room for this time around, so that when there will be possible intervention in Russian during Q&A, then he will translate from Russian into English in the main room. And I think that would be easier for us, right? Okay.
Guy, do you want me to ping Alex?
I did. I know that it's like 6 a.m. there, and she promised she will join, and she already sent us a few messages earlier today, so she is awake. I just don't know.
Yeah, I'll write to her on Facebook as well. But
Okay. Yeah. Unless she's joining like via some other name, because there are a number of people in the waiting room. So
She's not there.
okay. Kim, I wonder maybe because Sangeeta joined via translator's link, and maybe this is why you cannot add one more person to Hindi channel.
No, I added Sangeeta as she didn't join with the translator's link. I added her as an interpreter now.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Let me just see.
Yep. Okay. Let's admit him.
Is it? Okay. Excellent. Yeah, pick Sergey up fine.
Hi,
Hi, Sergey.
Hi, Sergey.
nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. So I've added Sergey, that's no problem. No, I think, let me just see. Sangeeta, could you send me Pavan's email address, please?
My email.
No, sorry, someone else, Pavan. Just want to see. I need to email him. Thank you.
Анна, приветствую на русском канале. Ну, Видимо, да. Is it okay if we talk to each other? No problem.
Of course. Let's see if
Okay.
that has worked.
I wonder why we have like one person that is waiting like with the same name 3 times.
Oh, they might connect from several different devices.
I wonder where the speakers are. Notes.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of minutes, Guy, or we could check in on the speakers just to make sure there's no problems.
Yeah, I'll send them a message now. It's already almost 5 to 12.
Just message people in the waiting room and
Hi, am I audible now, Sangeeta or someone?
Sorry, Pavan, I'm still struggling to add you as a interpreter. I'm really not sure why. I'm going to send you an invitation from Zoom, and I wonder if you could log off and then click on that link to log back in. Is that okay? So strange, it doesn't pick up Pavan at all.
I sent a message to the speakers, so hoping that they will join soon. I knew this would happen, of course. Okay. Great. I see Gavin joined just now. Fantastic. Hi, Gavin. Can you hear us?
Hi, Gaia. Hi, everyone. Sorry for being late. I can hear you loud and clear.
Great. Still wondering where the rest are, but Let's see.
I mean, I saw your message to Deepanjali on Teams, right? I think there was,
Yeah, I just sent a
oh
message.
yes, I saw it, yeah. Got it.
Yeah, I had a thought like before the meeting that they may be confused, but I should have just canceled that Teams event. Yeah. Yep.
Just sent Gemma a message as well.
Okay, we have our Georgian people who use drug network representative, Zaza. Hi, Zaza.
Hi guys.
Hi, thank you for joining.
We'll give it a few more minutes.
I've just sent the Zoom link to Gemma because I don't think she had. So, and then Palani was ill yesterday. I don't know if he's still ill today. I'm checking with colleagues in the meantime, and I'll also just buzz Deepanjali.
Okay. I see that there are several people named as Judy, but
I just take a minute for it to sort itself out.
are these input people? I guess.
Oh, one is Jake. I see there's a photo. Yeah.
The rest are input?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see, give it a second, see if it sorts itself out. Or
Перевода пока нету.
Что, простите?
Перевода нету пока.
Есть перевод, да, все нормально.
А что-то не слышно перевода.
Перевод там, где interpretation, просто выбираете
Я
тогда.
знаю, я выбрал Russian, но не переводит.
Просто пока еще нету содержательной беседы, поэтому нечего переводить, собственно. Пока уточняют, где люди, кто заходит, кто не заходит.
Все,
I
спасибо.
just explained that there is no discussion yet. We're only discussing who is entering the room. Just informs us that we're okay. We
Спасибо.
haven't started yet.
Kim, shall we now let everyone in?
do you want to just give it a second for Gemma to join, or are you happy?
So Gemma says she's in the waiting room, and
In the
shared the
wait.
Zoom link with Deepanjali and with Palani.
Okay, I don't see Gemma.
I think they just accidentally joined in Zoom, waiting in Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
This is so weird. I don't see their name.
So we can admit everybody.
Yeah.
If you're ready to start, and then we can kind of just, maybe the names will become clearer.
Yeah, I guess so, because I don't see their names popping up in the waiting room. So I have to admit all. All right, let's admit all.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the call. We're gonna start in 5-7 minutes. So just waiting for all the speakers to join as well. Can I kindly ask everyone to mute themselves?
abantu barakubweye we wabaye amaze kwipanga ukwiwe kandi acayicomokera ajana n'abandi nese babazi ingene yabipanga bahungira mu bandi murunama
Hello.
I know.
Hello.
Hi, Olga. Nice to see you.
Hi. Hi. Happy to see you. Nice. Привет, привет, родные. Вижу вас. Супер, что здесь.
Hi, so glad to see you.
Nice. Bye. You're amazing. We have translation. Wow.
Great. So we are, can I just clarify whether we have Deepanjali and so we have Gavin, Deepanjali, Gemma as the main speakers?
Yes, I'm here, Gaia. Hello, this is Gemma.
Okay. This is very interesting because like the name pops up as Judy on my screen at least. So I don't know what happened with Zoom, but apologies. Okay, now I see that Deepanjali is also here. Fantastic. Okay. So let's start then. If you can please check if your name is correctly indicated on the screen, would be great because it was very confusing. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
For some reason, mine is not.
Yeah, this is very strange. I've never seen this before. Okay. All right. Let's then start. I will now share my screen. I hope everyone can see this. Trying to. All right, so once again, hello everyone. I would like to invite you, yes, to this second peer technical support hub, which the main topic is on the CCM Evolution. If I can repeat again, please kindly mute all the background noises so that we can focus on the content. My name is Gaia. I work for International Network of People Who Use Drugs. And today we'll talk about the CCM evolution. So The agenda is quite packed, but we'll try to make it to 1 hour. So there will be opening remarks by Judy Chang, and then we'll follow it by presentation from Deepanjali Sapkoda about the overview of the CCM evolution and CCM engagement processes. After that, Gemma, our independent consultant working for CRGSI, will give a more key population perspective and overview of the CRGSI and how you would be able to like understand better the CCM evolution in respect to the community needs. And finally, we'll have a peer presentation from the perspective of the community of people who use drugs. And we have kindly asked Zaza, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your surname, Zaza Karchadze, Georgian network of people who use drugs, to give his perspective and lessons learned from the CCM evolution process in Georgia. So the presentations will be followed by the Q&A session. And finally, we'll give a word to Gavin, the lead of CRGSI, to bring all the dots together. So there are some ground rules with respect to the online calls like this. Yes, please keep the microphones muted during the presentation and keep cameras off. The meeting will be recorded, and if you have any objections, please let us know as soon as possible via chat or else by email if you want. We of course would like to take a group photo. I see there are 41 participants. I think it would be great to turn our cameras on after this call. And also, yes, please use the chat box to post any questions in the chat during the presentation. During Q&A, please try to either raise your hand or write your comment in the chat box. And you can also put your camera on if you would like. So we have a multilingual call today. There will be Russian and Hindi. I'm not sure whether our French translator managed to join, but we will also hope to have her on the call as well. So with these options, you can click on the interpretation button on your panel and choose the language you need. And then if you want to hear the interpreted language only, you have to click mute original audio. The presentation from Zaza by INPUD will be done in Russian. So then we'll have to all use English interpretation channel for those who may need to understand Russian. So yeah, we unfortunately cannot provide for French Russian or Hindi Russian translation. So English is our only option in this case. And during the Q&A, I would kindly ask you to prioritize using English. And if you cannot do that, then you can use the chat box in the main room and post your question in your original language, and then we can all try to support via Google. So now I will pass the floor to Judy. Judy, please.
Sure, thanks, Gaia. So just wanted to welcome everyone to the INPUD Peer Technical Support Hub for Global Fund CCM Evolution. So this is part of a series of online trainings that we're hosting on specific areas and topics of interest and relevance for people who use drugs. And the series is funded under the Global Fund CRG Strategic Initiative. I think there's a bit of background noise if people could mute. Thank you very much. So I think as all of us on this call are very keenly aware, we know that it is very important to effectively influence Global Fund programming, given it is the largest funder of harm reduction programs globally, especially when we know that a lot of the time our priorities and our prioritized interventions are not sufficiently covered and funded. And we know that, we are far away from genuine, meaningful involvement of people who use drugs, and that it can be very difficult to actually have our voices, needs and perspectives listened to and respected and included within funding requests and program implementation. So after we did a very rapid informal consultation, we heard from many of you that you wanted to learn more about the CCM evolution. And I think this is a reflection, as many of you shared, of the challenges and blockages and bottlenecks that are so often experienced within the CCM in your countries. So, it's very important that we stay informed and aware of opportunities and mechanisms such as the CCM evolution, so we can look at better improving engagement and influence within the CCM. So very grateful today that you are all here today, but also want to acknowledge the support of the Global Fund CRG team and the CCM Hub, who will be sharing, information and experiences of the CCM evolution. And as Gaia mentioned, at the end of this, we really wanted to have a discussion. So it's an opportunity, for everyone here to be able to pose questions, but also to learn and share with each other as well, because we know, across countries, there's a wealth of experience amongst us. So yes, I think for the rest of the session, it's just an opportunity to learn more and learn how to better advance our interests, globally, regionally, and nationally. So I just really want to thank Gaia and Kim for organizing this session today, and look forward to the presentations and discussions.
Great, thank you so much, Judy. Now I will pass the floor to, apologies, to Deepanjali, and I will now share. Deepanjali, do you want to share your screen, or shall I go ahead and share your presentation?
Please go ahead, share the presentation. Thank you so much.
All right, you can slowly start.
Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Just to give you a brief on, I've been working in the Global Fund since 2007. Started in HR and then moved to programs. I've worked in Southeast Asia as a program officer for almost 8 years, and now in the CCM Hub since 2017. And Evolution has been one of the initiatives that is really interesting and exciting for us, as well as for CCM. So with this, I want to move on. Please, maybe we can go to the second one. Just in the interest of time, I will go very fast, but please don't hesitate to put your questions and comments or reach out. So we've all been hearing the evolution actually started, there was pilot, just to give you a brief on the background, where this evolution is coming from and what this is all about. It started as the board mandated the Secretariat to go and work with CCMs in enhancing how we are already working in CCM. So there was a pilot that was done with 18 countries. This information is in our website, so I won't go much into that. But then the results, when we presented it to the board, we were able to show that with the support of the CCM Hub, country teams, CRG working together, there were some enhancements we did as part of this evolution, and it showed results for the board to approve next 15 million, around 15 million, to roll this out to the rest of the CCMs, around 90 CCMs and RCMs in total. So the context is really the global model invests in strategies in ending HIV, TB, and malaria, while we are trying to strengthen resilient and sustainable systems for health systems. And since CCMs are a core part of this model, we this project, this evolution project, is serving as making sure that we provide the service, provide the support that the CCM needs to address our role in the CCM and to strengthen the role in the CCM to achieve our collective goal, the objective that we have. And what the opportunity was, it was building from this pilot phase, CCM Evolution. Now we have rolled out, almost 50 CCMs have gone through the Evolution project, threshold assessments. And what we are doing is we are prioritizing some key interventions to enhance the core responsibilities. There are 4 core responsibilities within the CCM. 3 of them is not new to anybody who's been working with the Global Fund and CCMs, but the 4th one, which is positioning, and I'll speak to that just in a few seconds, is something that is new, but putting it right in front of the CCM so that we start working towards this transition and sustainability, incorporating that as well. So what are we trying to achieve with Evolution? It's really to equip our CCM members, the secretariats, provide the level of support that we, Global Fund, need to provide, and to align with the national structure. So we've heard a lot around Global Fund being, their own CCM being their own structure and not aligned with many of the structures within the national programs or within the country. So that's what we are trying to align it with, streamline some of the processes and really focusing on investment results, and then overall strengthening the governance for existing and emerging health challenges, such as we've seen it in 2020 and 2021, COVID, for example. Next slide, please. So the 4 core responsibilities of the CCM is active oversight of interventions to ensure that our program is achieving the impact that we would like it to have. Meaningful constituency engagement and information sharing, particularly with the civil society and communities, so that CCMs can shape and oversee investments. Third one is positioning, effective positioning within the national structures and existing emerging platforms to increase efficiency of health investments. And the last but not the least is really an efficient CCM Secretariat, which is Secretariat under the leadership of the CCM, that is guiding and providing that leadership in any CCM through the chair and vice chair roles that we have, and bringing to our core functions and enabling a sustaining health governance. Next slide, please. So what does the CCM evolution entail? So how does an evolution, what are we doing in this evolution? So there's first a baseline, because this is the first time of this kind of assessment is happening within the CCM. So we are trying to establish a baseline to see where CCMs are after 20 years of investments. And what do we need? What does the CCM need to prioritize in order to become a more strategic level thinking or functioning CCMs? That threshold or baseline results will allow CCMs to prioritize interventions. So of the 4 core responsibilities, they will choose 2 to focus in the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and then we continue to implement and see the performance. So there's induction that happens, we provide the interventions, and then we will be collecting results at the end of this process. And these results will be reported to the board in normally November 2022. Next slide, please. So the timeline is really, we were supposed to start in 2020, but obviously with the COVID, we had to change all our methodology. And then now all the support is remote. We are working very closely with the country teams, with our CRG colleagues, with all our regional platforms and networks to really understand and coordinate this work as much as possible. And this call is also a part of this better coordination and enhancement within our own work that we are doing with the CCMs. So right now we are, since we launched it, we've been working with, like I said, 50, we have results from 50 more or less CCMs, and those CCM has prioritized 2 activities. Not that if it does not mean that if they did not prioritize 2 core responsibilities, that means that they are not doing anything in that area. But the idea is they maintain the same level of functioning and enhance those 2 most critical priorities within the CCM on how they function. And then we are moving into implementation. And after 12 months, we are running out of time because of the delays with COVID. We will be collecting the results and then presenting to the board at the end, and the board will be deciding on what's next, to what level of investment are we making in the CCMs. Next slide, please. So I think this is where I would like to spend a little bit more time and maybe pause, because the rest of the slides can go pretty fast. So you might be asking, what is my role in this process? How can I support my community and engage with the CCM in your respective countries? So these are just a couple of points I thought might be useful practically. So first of all, what you can do is reach out to your CCM within each country, ask if the evolution has been launched. If it's been launched, you can ask for the report priorities, understand what is your CCM, the country-specific CCM's priority is. Ask questions, because learning from the pilot and the recommendations that came out from the pilot, something we did not do in the pilot was, at the end of this process, we wanted to make it as inclusive as possible so that everybody in the CCM is on board, understands what evolution is, understands what their role and responsibilities are in these 4 core areas, and understands what their own priorities are for the next 2 to 3 years. So this is very important as a CCM member, as a civil society organizations and communities. You must know who is representing your interest in the CCM. So that's the second one. You can always ask CCM secretariats. This is information that must be available without any struggle. This is information that we expect that CCM secretariats and CCMs are sharing within the country and with stakeholders, relevant stakeholders. So please, I recommend you to get this information if that's helpful for you. What else can we do? So when we are doing the evolution, one of the first, there are 3 data that we are using for our analysis, the consultant that we work with. So there is a survey, so there is an evolution survey, there's a link that we are sharing with the CCMs. Anybody who is working with the Global Fund, the stakeholders can take this survey. So you don't have to be a CCM member, but you can be our stakeholders working with the CCM within the country. So that survey, taking that survey, encouraging community members to take that survey would be really helpful. We are also interviewing a couple of CCM members, stakeholders, key to in this process. So you can also become part of that. You can ask CCMs to be interviewed. You can talk to the country teams. You can talk to your CRG colleagues. You can talk to your focal points. But that's another way for you to participate or encourage members if members from the community are part of the CCM. You can also contribute and participate in priority intervention. So when the task force, there's a task force that works smaller group because it is impossible to work with 30, 40, 50 members CCM to do this work. So there's a smaller group that is working with the consultant together with the secretariat, ourselves, country teams. So becoming a part of that, or at least getting some kind of updates from the secretariat is also, will be also very useful. And then building mutual accountability in enhancing overall performance of the CCM in your individual countries. And any other ideas, maybe we can discuss about that if we have time later on. Maybe next slide, please. So just quickly to give you idea on what this threshold is looking for. So these are the three things that I talked about. CCM documents is something like we are looking at CCM meeting minutes. We are looking at how CCM secretariats, how CCM themselves are engaging with the civil society and communities within each countries. So if you feel that you have not been part of this, you can always ask for the meetings. You can participate and ask to be part of those meetings. CCMs have quarterly meetings, but they also have ad hoc meetings. They also have oversight meetings. So these are all different avenues for you to participate and get information or get what you need to be able to engage meaningfully in your CCMs. Next slide, please. So this information is taken and the results is shown in this way. So this is just an example of how this would look like. So we are rating like from 0 to 3 in each area. And if an area is not scoring so high, it doesn't mean that the CCM is not performing or they are not doing the job. It just means that, you know, they need maybe to do 1 or 2 things to become to be more efficient or to be more productive or to enhance their own performance. Out of these, they will be choosing 2 areas of focus. Next slide, please. So this is just to show how this report would look like. So there are the priority lines. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 being the first 2 priorities from the CCM. Please, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so if you look at this, and this CCM has this information, those ones who have been through the process. So under oversight, you can see what kind of resources we are also making available to the CCM and to all the members and stakeholders. This information is also available in our website. So please feel free, we will show you the link for our website for all this information. We've tried to make it very simple, very not 10 pages, 20 pages, but all our guidance notes are in 2 pages. If you're interested to learn about what does oversight mean, how can I engage in the CCM to do oversight, or how can I engage in the CCM to become a member or to bring our voices, what is the best way to do that? Next slide, please. So yeah, this is how the report will show priority 1 and 2. And this is important as you are working with the CCM, you are working with the Global Fund processes and programs to be just aware of where the CCM is heading to. Next slide, please. And I'll just focus a little bit more on what are we trying to achieve in engagement. Now, some of the common feedback we get is communities not being able to get the information from CCM secretariats, communities not being able to meaningfully engage in the CCM. So through the pilot, what we learned and what we are trying to enhance is, first of all, the engagement in the CCM will be as meaningful as the representation, the people who are representing in the CCM, the members. It's very important how you select and elect your members, right? So reflecting really diverse constituencies perspectives, not just 1 or 2 constituencies who might have more voice, but really a diverse constituencies perspectives. Another very key messaging here is it really depends on how community members are preparing themselves prior to coming to these meetings, really understanding what the agendas are, what needs to be put forward to the CCM, because at the end of the day, the CCM is really a decision making, they need to make decision. And as much as possible, we need to make sure that our voices, our recommendations are as, aggregate. It really portrays the data analysis and consultations with all the constituencies within the country. And then participation, really focus on the dialogue and engaging in the decisions, and also the bi-directional feedback that we always talk about. Really, how is the CCM members within your CCM coming back to you and reporting back on what was being discussed, and again also bringing what are your key issues that needs to be brought at the CCM level. So this is what we are really trying to enhance through meaningful engagement. Next one, please.
Deepanjali, I will have to ask you if you can please try to trim it to 1-2 minutes, because we still yeah, thank you.
So next slide. I think we are done here. If I show this, then it's fine. This is just to show which countries has been through. So pre-post meeting is really for that preparation that I talked about, that we are providing some funds. We are training CCM members, and on the CBM, CLM, community-led, community-based monitoring activities, and then overall selection, election process. The election, nominating someone is at the end of this continuum, but really how do you engage to, bring forward your own member to become a representative, is really how you do that, is what we are trying to support the CCMs with. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deepanjali. I will immediately, in the interest of time, pass the floor to Gemma. Gemma, please welcome.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to just project my slides. Skaya, if you don't mind, just stop sharing and I can put mine up. Is that okay? There we go. Thank you. Okay.
To keep it to 5
I'm going to speak really quickly.
Thank you.
And I'm going to keep my camera off because it's still dark in the side of the world where I am right now. So apologies for that. My name is Gemma Oberst. I work with the Global Fund's Community Rights and Gender Strategic Initiative. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the support that is available for communities of people who use drugs and how this connects with the CCM evolution process. So the objective of the Community Rights and Gender Strategic Initiative, CRGSI for short, is really to strengthen meaningful engagement of communities in Global Fund related processes. We have 3 interrelated components. The first is short-term technical assistance delivered by civil society to civil society. The second is long-term support to key population networks. And the third is regional communication and coordination platforms. Here you can see a list of all the partners that we work with. I'm sure you recognize many of these organizations. I've highlighted the ones in red who have specific experience and capacity to provide support for communities of people who use drugs. And you can see we have several technical assistance providers who do that. We have investments in INPUD. As you can see, that's why we're here today. And we also have the regional platform host organization in the ICA region is a network of harm reduction associations. So the first component on technical assistance, this is support available to key population networks, youth networks, women's networks, and networks of people affected by the 3 diseases. It is provided by those 26 technical assistance providers that I just highlighted. I've got some examples here so you can understand a bit more clearly what kind of support is available. I think the first one there, the one to the Latin American network of people who use drugs, is maybe the most relevant for this discussion. There is an ongoing piece of work to support the meaningful involvement of those networks in 11 countries of a multi-country grant. And this includes helping them to engage effectively in CCM processes. much like Deepanjali was just talking about. Then, of course, we have the investments in long-term capacity strengthening of networks of people who use drugs. I'm just highlighting some of the activities we support INPUD to implement in partnership with country-level networks there as well. You can see this involves things like community-led monitoring. It involves things like improving advocacy on CCMs and effective representation, and in several key priority countries. And last, for the regional platforms, there are 6 of these host organizations. And here are some of the activities they are doing in the past and currently to help engage communities of people who use drugs in Global Fund. So some are helping to develop technical assistance requests. Others are co-facilitating workshops and learning events. And then others still are providing sort of small grant support. Now, our partnership with the CCM Evolution, this began last year, where the CRGSI works very closely now with the CCM Evolution and is being leveraged to provide technical assistance directly to communities in countries, specifically for those 2 activities listed there. This will be to help with CCM election processes, to make sure that documentation is done properly, the systems are in place, it's inclusive, and that strong members are chosen. And then to help with community-led monitoring to make sure that CCM members are able to use tools, use data, and be more effective in their oversight. So this is the end of my presentation. There are some resources here for you to follow for more information, how to access the technical assistance that I mentioned, and to learn more about how it works. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gemma. This is very helpful and useful. And now, Zaza, are you here? Hello? Zaza, can you hear me?
Да, я сейчас открою презентацию.
Okay, I will project your presentation. Zaza, я тогда ваши слайды смогу презентовать. Вы можете сами, да? Замечательно.
Да.
Ну все, хорошо. Okay, welcome, Zaza.
Еще раз добрый день. Спасибо за все.
Good day, everyone. Thank you very much.
Я начну свою презентацию и немножко расскажу, как устроен CCM в Грузии.
I will start my presentation. I will tell you how CCM works in Georgia.
Заза, вы можете полный экран открыть, потому что не видно.
Нужно запустить презентацию. F5 можно нажать.
Что?
F5 нажмите. F5, она запустит презентацию.
Сейчас.
Okay, we'll launch presentation to expand it.
Отлично.
Да. CCM Грузии – это особый механизм, учрежденный в 2003 году с целью координации менеджмента проектов Глобального фонда в Грузии, туберкулез и малярия. Статус CCM установлен правительством и Министерством здравоохранения. Статус CCM был вновь подтвержден и закреплен правительственным постановлением номер 220 18 июня 2012 года. Согласно постановлению, CCM является Национальным координационным комитетом по вопросам ВИЧ-СПИДа, туберкулеза и малярии. Согласно этому постановлению номер 220, целью CCM Грузии является обеспечение координации реагирования на ВИЧ, туберкулез и малярию на национальном уровне. CCM Грузии подотчетен по отношению к заинтересованным сторонам на национальном уровне.
Please follow the slide. Zaza is reading out from the slides. I don't have to repeat it.
Руководящие документы, которые используются и по которым работает CCM, это правительственное постановление по созданию единого национального механизма по борьбе со СПИДом, туберкулезом и малярией. Руководящий документ CCM, план по надзору CCM и политика глобального фонда по отношению к CCM, включая принципы и требования. Вот если вы видите структуру, как она устроена CCM, там CCM, комитет по надзору, консультативный комитет политики и адвокатирования, так называемый ПАК, и секретариат.
Okay, this is the CCM structure that you can see from the slide.
Здесь на этом слайде представлено членство CCM. CCM состоит из 3 сектора: это правительственный сектор, это гражданское общество и партнеры развития. Как вы видите, в правительственном секторе представлены почти все такие ведущие министерства страны. Здесь есть Министерство здравоохранения, Центр туберкулеза, Центр наркологии, председатель парламентского комитета, Министерство просвещения, аппарат государственного министра по вопросам примирения, Министерство финансов представлен, Министерство внутренних дел представлен и Министерство юстиции представлен CCM.
From the slide, you can see a presentation from the government sector, a list of ministries, almost everyone is included, and also you can see civil society development partners. That's all in the slides. Thank you.
Гражданского сектора представлены организации, которые работают в сфере ВИЧ-СПИД, представлены затронутые группы населения, представлены люди, употребляющие наркотики, представлены МСМ и другие группы, затронутые ВИЧ. И, как я сказал, третий это партнер по развитию. Ну, немножко расскажу, как эволюция CCM происходит в стране. В 2016 году CCM Грузии участвует в исследовании интеграции CCM. Результаты исследования показали, что CCM Грузии хорошо интегрирован не только в отношении политики, но и на практическом уровне. Помимо этого, было эффективное единое мнение по поводу того, что CCM Грузии должен продолжить существование после выхода глобального фонда из страны, так как помимо высокой функциональности CCM представляет ролевую модель для других подобных структур, не только внутри Министерства здравоохранения, но и для других правительственных структур.
We follow the slides. It is important that after CCM is going out of Georgia, it was important to leave this model as a role model for other activities.
В период 2016-2019 годах CCM Грузии принимает решение принять дополнительную техническую поддержку. Одним из продуктов технической поддержки является план переходного периода. План предоставляет руководству, как будет функционировать CCM в будущем. Сроки транзакций, анализ бюджетных потребностей для потенциальной активности и выявление локальных ресурсов для достижения целей. Другие продукты, обновление руководства, положение об обязанностях для комитетов CCM, для секретариата, ориентационный пакет для новых членов CCM. Комитет по надзору осуществляет постоянный мониторинг внедрения плана переходного периода. Вот здесь графично представлены те результаты дополнительной экспертной оценки процесса исследования эволюции. И, как вы видите, достаточно высокие оценки по надзору, по вовлеченности, по позиционированию и по функционированию.
Here you see the outcome of the evolution rollout, and generally the numbers are quite high.
И какие факторы определяют успехи CCM в Грузии? это вовлеченное и компетентное руководство, это коллективное сплочение CCM и действенный и эффективный секретариат. Вот здесь хочу добавить по поводу руководства. С дня введения CCM всегда возглавляет первые лица стали, так сказать. Первый раз оно возглавляет первая леди тогдашняя Сандра Руловс, потом CCM возглавлял министр здравоохранения доктор Сергеенко, и на данный момент CCM возглавляет уже министр здравоохранения госпожа Екатерина Тикарадзе.
It is important to know that these achievements were due to the involvement at very high level and at competent senior leadership. We need to make sure that very high officials were chairing CCM in the past, like the First Lady, originally then Minister of Health, and now another Minister of Health also heading this, the CCM.
С одной стороны, это, я бы сказал, что не совсем хорошо, потому что на их мнение учитывается все-таки какой взгляд имеет министр здравоохранения, такой взгляд разделяют представители государственного сектора. Но со второй стороны это хорошо, потому что мы имеем возможность все вот эти наши требования, все проблемы донести прямо первому лицу страны, министру здравоохранения. И адвокатировать на высшем уровне все эти наши проблемы.
It is important to know that high level of representation at the level of minister has its pros and cons. On a positive note, this is a very high level, and we can share and deliver all our messages and right to the top level of the government. But on the other hand, there are some shortcomings because public participants representing state organizations and state bodies, in fact, follow the opinion of the minister if they share it. So not really opposing it. So, but anyway, it is positive to us.
И вот последний слайд это вот отношения CCM и людей, употребляющих наркотики. Надо сказать, что представительство людей, употребляющих наркотики в CCM со времен основания. Представительство в консультационном комитете политики и адвокатирования. Сообщество ЛУИН принимает участие в разработке заявки по финансированию программ вычетки туберкулеза для глобального фонда. Принимаем участие в плане транзакции и устойчивости. Сообщество ЛУИН принимает участие в форумах гражданского сообщества, которые организуются CCM. И успешное разрешение проблем сообщества ЛУИН. И вот здесь хочу, как сказать, пару примеров привести, как вот мы смогли через CCM отстоять наши требования и решать эти проблемы. Было такое у нас в связи с пандемией, разрешили выдачу на руки заместительного препарата на 5 дней.
I would like to inform you briefly about the successful overcoming problems of people who use injecting drugs. Just one case, one example. For example, when the pandemic started and there was a lockdown, we managed to ensure a substitutional therapy given to the people. So that's one of the things that we have achieved. And another one?
К сожалению, после некоторого времени министр здравоохранения выдал указ, которым прекращался выдачу на руки, в то время, когда пандемия в стране продолжалась. Вот мы сразу отреагировали, мы в INPUD людей, употребляющих наркотики, там задокументировали случаи, это сделали несколько фотографий, какие там очереди выстроились возле сайтов заместительной терапии, и вот это все предоставили CCM.
In fact, we need to explain that why was that important. The thing is that a minister have issued an order that stopped any type of activity and given out any medication at hand, and in fact that brought to the problem with a long queues at the substitution therapy points. And we actually shared this information, made photographs, and shared that at the level of CCM to immediately address this issue. And the issue was resolved, actually.
Надо отметить, что все члены, абсолютно все члены систем нас поддержали, никто не высказался против, даже представители Министерства внутренних дел, и то они не высказались против наших требований, и мы смогли дважды возобновить выдачу на руки заместительного препарата.
In fact, we need to note that all members of CCM were supportive, including Minister of Interior. And so we managed to address this issue twice, and we resolved it twice. So people started getting substitutional therapy at hand again.
Кроме этого, мы CCM поддержали наше предложение, чтобы выдача на руки заместительного препарата ввелся в стране на постоянной основе. И чтобы оно не было зависимо от пандемии, и чтобы оно было регулярной, в долгосрочной перспективе выдача на руки заместительного препарата. И по этой направлению идет работа, опять по рекомендации CCM.
And again, the work has started based on CCM recommendation to have a regulation that was enable substitutional therapy not to stop its operation, but continuously work to help people. So we work on that now.
И через CCM еще мы адвокатируем выдачу налоксона в безрецептной форме. И в этом тоже вовлечены члены CCM, вовлечен замминистра здравоохранения Тамар Габуня. И мы надеемся, что очень скоро налоксон будет выведен из рецептурной формы. И оно будет широко доступно для людей, употребляющих наркотики.
In fact, we are trying to reduce paperwork so that people would get it without any prescription, and so that people would be able to get it easier without no constraints. And in fact, this is about removing this medication out of the list of mandatory medications which have to be given only by a prescription.
На сегодняшний день CCM представлены люди, употребляющие наркотики, 3 представителя. Я, Константин Лабарткова, и альтернат один еще Лаша Абесади. Вот мы втроем представляем людей, употребляющих наркотики в CCM, и стараемся, чтобы всякие такие проблемы была озвучена и решена через страновой комитет.
We need to note that a community of people who use drugs is well presented in the CCM. It's myself and 2 more people. 3 of us are members to the CCM, and we can deliver all necessary messages and share our items in the CCM. So thank you very much for your attention.
All right, thank you everyone for very interesting discussions. As I expected, we have run over time, and so I would kindly now pass the floor to Judy, so now we can have a discussion straight away. So please go ahead by raising your hand. We see a lot of discussion going on also in the chat box. So let's have a discussion, and also, since we have run over time a little bit, those who can stay on, please stay on. I think it's a very important topic for all of us. We've all voted for the CCM evolution to be discussed, and yes, let's discuss.
Thanks, Gaia, and thanks for everyone with their patience as well, and hopefully people can stay on. I'll just give a check to see if people want to raise hands and raise a question. Otherwise, there are a couple of questions in the chat. So I'll just turn to the first question by Jerome. It was terminology, but I was going to answer that in the chat, Jerome. And then there was your second question directed towards Global Fund. And I think there was a similar question asked by Eric as well, that in terms of smaller organizations or CBOs that, or community-led organizations that don't usually get look-in or representation with on the CCM, like what advice could you give on engaging and still being able to influence the CCM? So I don't know if Gavin or Gemma.
Do you want me to take that, how to influence in the CCM, Julie? Just quickly, it's not always important to be the chair or vice chair in the CCM. It's really, I think, like how I heard from CCM Georgia, it's really how can you bring forward in an organized way, knowing who your representatives are, if the if your members are not representing there, making sure that your concerns are put forward in the agenda. So knowing when the meetings are happening, the CCM plans yearly. Unless there's changes, they update the members. So really, first of all, knowing who the CCM members are in the respective CCMs, who is representing you, and what are they speaking to each different constituency? So that's, I think, very important. And also, if you want to become a CCM member or representative, then understanding when the election is happening in the CCM, because this is really organized. Secretariat facilitates, but this happens with each constituencies within their own organization. Everybody gets organized in that way. So really understanding when that election process is, how the elections are happening, so that you as a community can get organized and put forward your representative. And it is also, we've been discussing this with CRG colleagues and our partner stakeholders, really to understand also what is the disease that's driving the epidemiology there. And if it's not just always being part in the CCM, how can you organize through different technical working group, different committees? CCM holds different committees, whether it's at the program level, funding request level, revision levels. So knowing what are the different avenues that you can at least bring the concerns and issues at stake, really key issues. We cannot, I think CCM will need to be very specific problems and specific that they can actually take decisions on. So I would say these are a couple of quick ways you could engage at the CCM.
Thanks, Deepanjali. That was very practical information. I'll just turn to Sergey, who's got his hand up, and then Vishnu.
Sergey Bessonov.
Yes, Sergey Bessonov.
Здравствуйте всем. У меня уточняющий вопрос. То есть я в презентации слышал, что есть возможность поддержки сообществ, это техническая помощь, это мини-гранты. Можно, пожалуйста, повторить и уточнить, как и на что они будут направлены? То есть это могут быть и встречи сообществ перед выборами. Вот такой вопрос.
Good day. I have a clarification question. You mentioned about potential support available, including technical assistance and possibly mini grants. Could you please elaborate on that? What exactly is possible to do with that? Is that about organize meetings or like focus group, or do some other activities? What is this available for? Thank you.
I can clarify on the CCM. So if we have a CCM funding that we give money to each CCMs, so this funding, 15% of the CCM funding that we provide, we encourage CCMs to make sure that 15% is going for community civil society engagement. Under that, if you go to our website, and I think Gaia will share the link to our website, there's a very clear activities. We have listed it, how this 15% can be utilized, and you can ask the CCM secretariats, because CCM secretariats ask for budget from civil society representatives in the CCM, and this is your opportunity to again, bi-directional feedback with other constituencies as well, collectively put forward a meaningful, for election processes. It can be used for pre and post meeting preparation meetings as well. So this fund can be used for these kind of meetings. Yes, absolutely. And I think there's another TA. I think this is through CRG. Again, there's a link, and I'm sure Judy and Gaia can, share that information widely with you all.
Thanks, and a very good question. And yeah, we've gotten that question as well a lot. So we're looking for the next webinar meeting to do something on how to apply for short-term TA, because we don't want to waste that opportunity. So thanks, Sergey. I know Vishnu's been waiting for a while. So Vishnu, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. And thank you for this opportunity to know about CCM Evolution. My questions goes to Dipanjali. She repeatedly, on our presentation, repeatedly she said meaningful engagement from civil society for grant making process, including oversight and program implementation, monitoring the quality of services as well. But what we experience in our country, the grant meaningful engagement, how we can ensure the meaningful engagement, the way you said, okay, grant making process, community consultation we prioritize our need, and we validate the proposal. Is this a meaningful engagement that CRG, Global Fund CRG, trying to build upon? And what we experience, it is not enough. It is not a meaningful engagement. You need to revisit your actions, because we experience when grant negotiation process, budget finalization process, community are not involved. So when it comes back and forth negotiation process, when it times comes, all the time we civil society face difficulties, and our concern was always deleted. Our concern was always reduces. This is that we experience. And the oversight in Nepal, I think, is a very weak part. And strengthening civil CCM Secretariat. It is as part of civil CCM evolution process. It's quite critical. If you try to strengthen CCM Secretariat as well, I feel it's dangerous also. Sometimes, if the quite successful and smart CCM Secretariat, they can play. I can say, it's a bad role with the civil society. We have experience, they always intact with the government because we have a CCM higher authority. And that's experience we have been facing, because it's not working, we are not getting continuous information, while we are continuously writing CCM Secretary. We need information. We need information. These are the money. What is your plan? Where is your minutes? Why minutes were written differently when we discuss differently? So it is CCM Secretariat should be limited, the communication for civil society, government, global fund, and PR itself, not to give too much responsibility within the CCM Secretariat. Sometimes CCM Secretariat can play donor's role, bossy role. That's a dangerous that we experience. So from Dipanjali, the meaningful engagement this is my suggestion, or maybe you can add on this. For GEMA, a Global Fund strategic initiative, I feel, in terms of PWID, the harm reduction program for PWID, one of the successful program for reducing HIV infection among the PWID. We've been failure establish harm reduction key component within the regional initiative, regional grant. So why we not establishing a 100% regional grant? This is our major concern. It was previously it was a 100% grant. Now in the different languages, sustainability, health system, the different languages, we're trying to, we feel, we've been manipulated by the Global Fund in terms of CRG grant. So it is not fair to us. And Judy, I think we need to work on it because harm reduction is not strategically established within the Global Fund system. That's we need. And thank you for other Georgian presentation. It's a very impressive, the transitional advisory committee that we need to establish in our country. It's an excellent model that you presented that we missed in our country that we need to do. And the advisory committee, we do not have CCM transitional plan. We need to work on it. And thank you, Zipanjali. You inform us at least 15% CCM fund should be for the community that we try to identify ourselves, and we ask for the CCM. Thank you. Thank you, Judy.
Do you want me to respond to the meaningful engagement part?
Yes, that would be great, Deep
Yeah.
and Charlie, and then we'll move to Gavin just in consideration of time. But
Yeah, very quickly, because it is true that we at the Global Fund or within our stakeholders, we use this word quite frequently, and we have, from our CRG website, there is what meaningful engagement means. So I recommend anybody to go and take a look on that report. Just speaking around meaningful engagement, yes, we are making sure that the consultation processes, the meeting up with all the civil societies, making sure that the safe space is there, the opportunities are there. Just to speak to the pilot, because Nepal was pilot, and through GIZ funding, there was a huge engagement process done in Nepal, specifically in Nepal, that was a very welcomed idea from the CCM Nepal and participants in Nepal. All communities were involved. It was a very long, more than a year project, long-term from APCASO. So I invite you to also look at those engagement, how to engage within the civil CCMs, because this is very specific to each country. So what we are encouraging is define your own meaningful engagement. There's one that we encourage our stakeholders, but each country is coming up with their own. There's a very well-documented process through APCASO, so please do ask for that, and you can see how that has been described within CCM. All the members were part of that. So I can just speak to that, and really thank you for Georgia as well for presenting how a CCM would look like if you are graduating, and even if you are not graduating. So that is the area where positioning would happen. And if Global Fund is not there tomorrow, how can the civil society voices continue to work? Because as Global Fund principle, what we are trying to achieve with all this support, multiple different levels of support, is, for us, the most important support and work that we do is really making sure that the civil society voices are heard in every way possible, and that's the principle. So, and how can we continue to do that even if we graduate out of a country, or how can the CCM, because that is our architecture right now, coordinating mechanism, how can that process continue? So meaningful engagement does mean that for us, and in each country is differently. CCM budget is there for that, so you can always ask secretariats. And I agree with you, Mr. Nepal, that sometimes we have issues when there is CCM secretariats very, very strong and not having that unbiased view and support. And this is also through the evolution, we are trying to reinforce what a CCM secretariat role is, and that's the operation part. So thank you for that comment.
Thank you both. Just in the interest of time, I'm just going to turn to Gavin Reid for closing comments. But just, yeah, thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to all the participants. You know, if you have follow-up questions, please use the INPUD Global Fund list as well, and we can continue discussions. So I'll just turn over to Gavin.
Thanks so much, Judy and colleagues, for this afternoon's discussion. We really welcome these types of interactions and finding ways that we can communicate and work together better to ensure that the needs and realities of people who use or inject drugs are taken into account in global fund decision-making in country. I have 6 points that I just want to highlight from today's discussion. The first point is for you to get to know and to work through the key population representative on the CCM, whether or not it's a representative of people who use drugs or another key population representative. It's really important to be connected to them. Secondly, as has come up just now, ensure that communities and civil society are accessing the 15% available through annual CCM budgets. There is 15% that is ring-fenced for communities, and often this isn't actually being used. The third is to advocate, take part in the survey that Deepanjali has spoken about, and advocate on the CCM to prioritize support for community engagement available through CCM Evolution. And as Deepanjali and Gemma said, specifically to strengthen the election of representatives and in relation to ensuring that community-led monitoring data is informing CCM decision-making and oversight decision-making. The fourth, to familiarize yourself on what support is available from the CRGSI and to reach out to the CRG regional platform and or INPUD for support to develop requests and really to ensure that any kind of support that you need, whether it be around needs assessment or situational analysis, or pulling together a community consultation to ensure that your needs and priorities are informing the discussions at CCMs. The fifth one is to ensure that you're accessing information. So you should be accessing information through the CCM. Often the information is sent to CCM members, but make sure that the members and representatives are passing that information onwards. There is also information that's shared through the CRG regional platform, so to make sure you're connected to them. INPUD, you're obviously connected to INPUD because you're in the discussions today, but also in terms of making sure that you have communication channels with PRs or SRs as appropriate. And then there's also Palani, the Senior Advisor on Harm Reduction in the CRG department, and country teams. So you need to know who the different partners are that you can reach out to in terms of Global Fund. And if you don't know, please reach out to INPUD or to any of us so that we can make sure that you're connected with the right people in country. The last point, point 6, and it kind of speaks to what Vishnu was just speaking about, is, you know, there are power dynamics. There are power dynamics, and we are working with often with governments that don't particularly like our populations. They don't like our subpopulations, and this is not easy work. So what I'm going to ask is that when you encounter issues, please reach out to INPUD or to the CRG and CCM hub teams or to your regional platform when you encounter issues, so that we can take them up and with you, that we can take them up at the Secretariat, we can take them up at country level, whether it be with CCMs or PRs. It would be a real shamed opportunity to wait in the past and to say issues came up and we just stopped there. We really appreciate working with INPUD during the recent C19RM process to try and address issues as they come up in real time, and to try and, I'm not guaranteeing you that we're always going to resolve the issues successfully, but we're going to have a really good go at doing so. And we will also document and highlight internally where there have been obstacles that we haven't overcome, but we also anticipate being able to resolve. And just to say that within the C19RM, of the issues that raised, and we had issues in over 32 countries, many of those were able to be resolved. So a huge thank you to all of you and your ongoing efforts. And I will pass back to Judy and Gaia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gavin, and thank you for a really fantastic discussion. I think we have all learned a lot during this time around. Thank you also for staying online. Please, let's turn our cameras on and take a photo of this important event. I think it's great that we all managed to find the time to discuss a really, really critical point for everyone. And as I put in the chat box, please reach out. Gavin also mentioned, please feel free to reach out anytime you want and need. I think we all need to support each other now, even more than ever. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, I'm going to take the photo. So everyone look your best. Everyone say hi.
Hello.
Everyone's always looking their best. All right, everyone ready?
Hi.
3, 2, 1, say hi. Oh, wait, sorry, 1 second. Got it. Okay. Great job, everyone.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaia. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Спасибо, родные, что все были здесь. Thank you. Да, переводчики, спасибо вам, Анечка,
Спасибо
Анна,
вам, дорогие.
Сережа,
Спасибо.
спасибо. Заза,
Всем
спасибо.
поддержку сообщества.
Спасибо, брат, молодцы. Давай, вперед.
Обнимаю всех, дорогие.
Обнимаем, пока.
Thank you so much, Zaza, for sharing.